2019 and there's Navi, there's RTX, there's DLS, there's RDNA, and then there's your wallet. But the truth is you don't need a super expensive graphics card to have a solid PC gaming experience. So with the $100 in your hands or your bank hands, I'm going to show you which of these two graphics cards, the RX 570 and the GTX 970, are the better choice for your wallet here in 2019. Let's jump into it. But if this is your first time to the channel and you're into building and fixing up gaming PCs on a budget, consider clicking the subscribe button and notification bell to catch all new uploads the moment they drop. Doing this helps me grow here on YouTube and as a content creator, and for that I appreciate you all to the moon and back. When it comes down to shopping for a used graphics card, there are options plenty out there in the wild, right? Deals and bargains that can be found from sellers all over the place, like the Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, and even the good old faithful Craigslist, just to name a few. But our options on the table today are Nvidia's GTX 970, an MSI variant, and AMD's RX 570, an Asus ROG Strix variant. Both these GPUs can be had on the eBay for somewhere between 100 to 150 USD. And honestly, with the two priced so competitively, it's hard to crown either one as 2019's new budget king, but more on that later. Alright, now let's go over the specs. The GTX 970 has 4 GB or 3.5 GB, depending on what side of the argument you wish to be on, of GDDR5 video RAM on a 256-bit memory buffer running at a bandwidth of 224 gigabits per second. It has 1,664 CUDA cores, runs at a base clock of 1050 MHz and a boost clock of 1178 MHz. And this is all on an 8+6 power connector from your power supply unit. And then for Team Red, we have the RX 570. It too has 4 GB of GDDR5. That is on a 256-bit memory buffer with also a bandwidth of 224 gigabits per second. It has 2048 stream processors, runs at a turbo or a base frequency of 1168 MHz and a boost clock frequency of 1350 MHz, and that's on a single 8-pin connector from your power supply unit. Both graphics cards are running at their stock configuration with power and temperature sliders all the way to the right and a 100% fan curve to simulate the best possible cooling scenario. For drivers, the RX 570 is running its latest version, at least the latest at the time of me recording this video, 19.8.2 drivers, and the GTX 970 on its respected latest and greatest, port 36.15. All games are tested at 1920 by 1080p using MSI AFTERBURNER to log the average, minimums, and 1% lows of continuous gameplay. So with the $100 or more in your hands, I'm going to show you the performance you can expect between the RX 570 and the GTX 970. So let's run those benchmark numbers and talk about the results right after. Alright, now you've seen the numbers, so let's talk about it. Starting with the still very much popular Battle Royale Fortnite, the GTX 970 dusted the Polaris-based GPU, coming out 29% faster across the board and staying above our monitor's 60Hz refresh rate. Then next up, we had Apex Legends, where the RX 570 came in 16% faster than the GTX 970. Although the 970 had better 1% lows, the RX 570 maintained a higher average FPS. Next up is WARFRAME. It's free to play over on Steam, where the GTX 970 was 7% faster across the board, but both cards were able to push out really high frames with all the settings pushed to the max. And then concluding with Rainbow Six Siege, Final Fantasy 15, and the god-awfully optimized Mafia 3, they all came in relatively close to one another in terms of average FPS, but the GTX 970 sustained higher minimum FPS and 1% lows across the board. At this price point, you arguably couldn't go wrong with either one of these graphics cards, but if you want to save a few bucks and you're looking for the new budget king of 2019, then the winner here, in my honest opinion, would be the RX 570. For a median price tag of between 100 to 150 USD, you'll be getting the best bang for your buck, solid 1080p gaming, all for a GPU less than 3 years old and that cost under $200. So if you want to learn how to build budget PCs and other gaming related stuff, consider clicking the round subscribe button and notification bell right there in the middle of the screen. Again, this helps me grow here on YouTube and as a content creator. Thanks for giving this one a watch. I hope to see you on the next one. So until then, be easy.